You're listening to the Unpainted Podcast with Sneaker Fair Kicks. The dopest artists weighing in on staying creative, money, fame, and glory. Get that creative kick you need for the weekend. The Unpainted Podcast. Make art and hustle.
Yo. Welcome to the first and very first episode of the Unpainted Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony, otherwise known as Sneaker Fair Kicks. And today, I got a great guest, dope artist out of DC. It's my boy, FrankieMadeIt. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is going to be live. It's going to be a great episode. Again, it's the first episode, so I had to pick somebody that I knew would just show out. So without further ado, let's introduce FrankieMadeIt Art.
Hey, what's good?
Yo, what's happening, brother?
On today's podcast.
You know, I had to bring you out, brother. You know, I caught on to you a couple weeks ago, really. And man, I just been enjoying your work. You know, some of you that know me a little personally know that I've begun to incorporate abstract work into my portrait work just to spice it up, make it a little more fun. And when I seen Frankie's work, I was just like, man, you know, this dude is doing exactly what I'm looking to do. It's just that same level. It's just like raw. It's very abstract, but still has like the street vibes. You know, if you know me, you know I'm from Chicago, and street art is everywhere. You know, it's on the sidewalk, it's on the back of the building, the front of the building. You might find it on a car. It's in the galleries. It's a part of our culture. And just seeing Frankie's work just resonated with me. It just reminds me of, you know, being out in the streets, and especially in like the really like rich neighborhoods that we have here in Chicago, where just again the art is everywhere. So enough of me talking. Frankie, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Well, hey, as you said it, you know, I'm from the DC area. Out here we call it the DMV. Because it's DC, Maryland, and in Virginia, they could have named it something else, though. Like I swear, they could have named it something else. But I started doing art as a kid. Honestly, I did it all the way through high school. I did it all the way up through high school. As a youth, I used to paint and draw all the time. But weirdly, I never wanted to be an artist. I'd never wanted to be an artist. I went into the work game for a couple of years. For anybody out there with a skill or like a talent, you know how much the work can really change your trajectory. And it slowed me up for a good 20 years. And I just picked up the paintbrush about 2 years ago. Started slowly with drawings. Now I'm heavy into paintings, and that's where we are today. Yes. So this is the start of my journey.
Okay. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your artwork? How would you best describe it? And if you could speak a little bit about your art journey for us.
Absolutely. So I guess for my current art style, I would call it surreal realism. That's pretty much the vein of what I'm going for. So when I speak on my actual art journey, and I remember being in school. You know, again, I'm old, but the majority of my knowledge of like the traditional artists came from. I'm talking about what I learned in fourth grade, things like that. Like, I wish I would have studied more of those artists, but my inspiration doesn't exactly come from the traditional art. It's definitely more based on like I want to say like the new wave. Like the new way. So when I started back drawing, There's no basic pencils. My first art supply. Shout out to one of my good lifetime friends, Vinny Boy. He actually five years ago, he purchased me a set of color pencils, and it's crazy
Okay.
again. And he really put the spark in my back. Hey, I know you used to do this. Yo, you need to get back to it. You need to get back to it. So it was a friend that really kind of persuaded me to get more into art. And so from that point on, I mean, I did a few little outlines of the color pencil drawings. I'm gonna tell you like this: one of the biggest things about me, it's crazy, especially you being from like Chicago.
Yeah.
Art wise, I always felt like on some cocky Kanye stuff. Like, I always felt better than what I was. Like, so even when I was doing the crappy drawings, I thought I was so good. I thought I was so good, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
Then I wasn't even checking out for anyone else. But I actually improved when I start seeing other artists, and I start seeing the other things that really could be done.
Okay.
Shout out to the YouTube. I utilize the YouTube for every single thing new that I bought and purchased. And so it started with color pencils, then went to the graphite sets, and then charcoal sets, and then bigger color pencil sets, then into the watercolor paints, into gouache paint, and I've been heavy on acrylics for the past 2 years, and I haven't stopped since then. So that's pretty much.
Okay. So you said new wave, right? New wave.
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain that to the people a little bit? Like how do you define that, and how did you even come up with that name?
So I feel like the new school of current artists, or if you want to, some people they call it pop art, or
Mm-hmm.
the majority of the art that I've currently seen, when I say the new wave, is Instagram inspired art. It's art that's kind of based on, I don't want to say exactly a trend, but the strength of the art is kind of based on a popular muse. Like the muses are made through the music,
Mm-hmm.
where like before, and I don't want to get into comparing today's musicians to the musicians of old, but there's a lot of people today that may not even deserve to get, I won't say deserve to get painted, but it's I feel like there are older groups or generations of people with classic stuff that really should be covered before some of these newer things. But with the influx of the platform, it's so many.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's just as many new painters as there are musicians now.
Okay.
So the art and music, I definitely feel like is one today. That's definitely where I feel like it's the current vibe of the new wave. The art isn't exactly powered by the exact art. The art that lives on the internet, I feel like much of it is powered by the music.
Okay. So do you feel influenced by that in any way?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's where do I even start with that? Yeah. From when people check out, my page, Frankie Made It art. Some of the first things that I did were actually the first person that I drew, like when I stopped after 15 years, I did 3 people, no 4 people.
Okay.
I'm see if I can name the people. The first person I drew, I think was my best friend who got me the pencils. Second person was my daughter, who was 2 at the time. Third person was me. And the fourth person was Michael Jackson. It was like a crazy, crappy pen sketch. But that's what I started with. And again, but by the time I say like, it was Basquiat, it was one more. The fifth one, 6'9".
Oh wow.
6'9". I'm talking about like so now that's what I wanted to get into. So the music, when I started, certain people that I felt like were I felt like one with like certain people in the group of things. Like I say art and music is almost like tied in together. Like so when I did 6'9", I was powered up by the song. I really he just dropped Gummo. And I was just looking at the image, I was looking at his face. And I was just like, this is the first time I ever seen him. I was like, something special about this dude. Like, I don't know what it is. I was just like looking at his face, and I was like, I like the way it just looked. It was something about somebody who did something to themselves that's so outlandish, and I know it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of based around the music. And
Right.
I'm into those kind of figures. I'm into the people that people may not like, but yeah, it's crazy. So I still remember that. Yo, shout out to him. I did the drawing. I sent it to his DM. Yo, he never seen it though. He never seen it. When I seen him,
Right.
he was at 400,000. Give it 2 months later, he was at like at 5 million.
Oh, damn.
So you
Wow.
know,
Okay.
so, so yeah, so now much of the art that I do, even early on, I try to catch people in my so speak on it in my city. I try to catch people, the people that I personally choose to do. I don't
Yeah.
exactly do the classics. I just started getting into more of the classic subjects.
Mm-hmm.
My art is the early art was driven by I guess the pro. It was driven by like underdogs, definitely. So I do art of underdogs, the people who haven't been tainted by like the fame, people who I feel um, are new and they're like they will appreciate what's actually
Yeah.
being created of them. I'm not trying to do a flooded. I know this one guy. All he painted is Billie Eilish or something like that. That's all he do. He does great portraits of Billie Eilish, but you know, like she's past that point, in my opinion, to even to catch much of the art that's made of her. So I do it. I do art for specific people. Yeah, that's
Oh,
really my thing. I do art. Every painting that most of the paintings I do are really aimed at that particular person.
I respect that. Okay. So, if you could walk us through a bit of your process. You know, we hear about the musing and how you muse, and I like that. You know, the idea of like painting the underdog, like that's cool to me. You know, because I do that too. You know, when especially doing portraiture, being a fellow portrait artist. You know, the underdog is usually an interesting person and it definitely draws people in. You know, being seeing somebody that they're not familiar with or somebody that's not that popular. Talk to us about your process.
Absolutely. This will be a fun one. So
Let's go.
I have a couple of tools for
Okay.
creating art. I'm I'm gonna be honest. The reference. So first things first, I pull up the reference. I will search and I will search. So if I think of and I try to find the best image that I feel will fit
Hmm.
best for the portrait that I am making. I also try to make sure, let's say if I think of a new idea, if I was sure, if I have it with me. In fact, I'm gonna run down something quick. Let me grab
All right. Let's see it. Let's see it.
something. I'm gonna bring this one down real quick. So
Yeah,
example,
buddy.
so
Look
I
at
come up
that.
with concepts of around famous imagery that I grew up on, or just stuff that I
Hmm.
remember, people that I know resonated well with me, and that resonate with many people. So again, when they talk about like pop art, my stuff, I'm not trying to do too much obscure stuff. I do it. Make every painting count. Make every drawing count. So example. So for this one, I knew I wanted to do the original concept. I was going to do Michael. You know, they talk about the goats: Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson,
Right.
Mike Tyson.
Right.
So originally, I said, okay, I wanted to do. I was going to try to mix all three, but I said, oh, let me look it up. So first thing when I'm looking up these references, I'm also looking up the idea. Like, so I literally Googled Michael Jackson mixed with Jordan to make sure it hasn't, but it can't
Okay.
prove it enough.
Okay.
So I will actually Google that kind of stuff to make sure that I'm not copying what someone else may have created. And if I do tackle it, then I'll make sure I'll tackle it in a different light. So example, let's say just for this, when I pull it up, if anybody was to Google it right now, you will find probably 40 images. So it has been done, but not like this. I've seen, and
Hmm.
it's all been digital. So when I went
Hmm.
to it, I really go in when I set out to do each of my paintings. I really want to do something new that the world hasn't seen. But number one, I take pride in trying to keep the stuff as original as possible, even if I float the lines of what has been done. So I make sure I
Yeah.
Google the image. Once I seen that there was no paintings of that, I knew I was in a good spacing for it. So I Google the image, place the image, no matter however you get your reference down on your canvas, and from there I get the painting. My Once I get that, so this is the other piece of it too. I want to speak on too. Almost, I feel like what this new way. I don't want to get off. I don't want to get off the subject too much, but
Yeah. I want to hear about it though.
yeah, the new wave of art is so much recording of the process, so much taping of the process. So I feel like I have, and it's like let's say if I did 100 paintings, right?
Okay.
Approximately 10 videos or pictures coincide with each of those paintings. So for every step along the way, I'm documenting it, whether if it be a hyperlapse video, whether if it's a quick 2-second video of me, brushing it, whether if it's, just me taping the outline. But I make sure I tape as much as possible for footage. That's the thing about the new wave. Like, shout out to many. I've seen a few artists that they may not even include their process. They get to the final. What they display is, this is what I made. Boom, here you go. But again, what got me into art, honestly, was seeing the process and seeing different ways. Even that has changed. Even how you push the process out has changed. Like a good hyperlapse video would have been good 2 years ago, but that doesn't exactly work all the time. So you got to figure out different ways to do it. So I just take a whole bunch of different styles, of footage to make sure I have this footage ready. Yeah.
Okay. So your way of adapting to the times is like taking a little bit of the new and mixing in some of the old. Then.
Yes. But I honestly, and I'll say this, I like to be able to show off the process, but I feel like with many of us artists, we've gotten kind of, I'm gonna say, pigeonholed it into trying to, it's the new wave of art. Again, I truly don't feel like stuff is about the art. I may have a different, I don't feel like, and I also, example, I run it like the new wave of art. Yeah, it's not about the art. How far your art get, don't matter how the art look. It's about how it's presented. There we go. So that's why.
Talk about it.
So, example. So I'm gonna break it down, right? Oh, here we go. This is perfect. Here we go. Look, here we go. Go on, check it out.
Talk about it.
I finished.
Look
this
at
card,
that.
right?
Look at that.
So
my God.
I had this. Shout out, thank you. This is again part of like my new style of the abstract mixed with the, So how do I say this? So example. So let's say I did the video, right? I go like this.
Okay.
I take the video, what I would normally do. I start in the middle of the face. I back up 10 seconds, 15 seconds, add some music to it, post it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's lit. Yeah, okay. That, right? You would think the picture looked good. It's going to spread. Check this out. I just did this on my thing. So I did the fake version of that.
Okay.
It's really like, in my opinion, it's no. I won't say this is crappy art because again, it's way less detailed than that. I put this first as the main picture, something that honestly, if I would have seen it, I would have just scrolled past it. I wouldn't have looked into like, what the hell is that? But that's also a big piece of what make people click it. More people seem to click. I don't know what they can't see. Like, so that's what it's really about how you present it. So I do something like this with transitions from this, boom, to this. And now that art is moving. Now that art traveling. I'm watching the numbers go up. I'm watching all that. I'm watching that move. Um, I say it like this. Yeah, much of my art today, and I'm trying to get out of this. I definitely say it. Much of my art today is based on get it out, get these numbers up. I want get it out, get these numbers up. I try to get as far as a reach as possible to get as much of a reach for commissions as possible. So it's
I
not.
respect that.
So it's a lot that comes. Honestly, it's a lot that come with that. That eventually I'm gonna get into it. But I got so not everything I made was aimed for the internet. I definitely say not everything I made was aimed for the internet, but a huge bulk of it, of the art that I've created, has been made to extend my reach. Not exactly to
Right.
create art that's going to, like be in a museum or something like that. But I do have things that I have focused on that. But on utilizing the current platform, that's the way I've been approaching. Just trying
Okay.
to make. Mhm.
Can you no, go ahead. Go ahead. I want you to finish that thought.
No. It's just really like about trying to. A lot of people don't look like that deep into it. Like when I got into it for the love, when I had a lot of love for the stuff, and I was seeing the numbers and seeing where they went. But after the first, I don't want to say after the first big share that I ever got, it changed, and I planned it out. And I don't know. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna hold that thought later. I'm gonna talk about planning out art, and I'm gonna talk about planning out posts and planning. I'm gonna take on write that down so I don't lose that point.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want.
we gonna explore that, in a
I want
second
to definitely
anyway, because I wanna
get.
I wanna hear your thoughts on that for sure.
Yeah. But hold on. I want to. There we go. There we go. I want to get into some stuff. Yeah. But yeah. So
Yeah.
that's mainly it. So a lot of artists again they'll tell you to create from the heart. I come in after the first year, after that first big share, and I seen what those numbers did for me. It definitely changed
Mm.
my approach. Almost, I said the music is tied with the art. I used to actually say, I'm sorry, my apologies, I'm jumping the subject, but I'm still on the subject. But so my name, Frankie Made It, is actually my producer name. I don't make beats anymore,
Okay.
but my name, Frankie Made It, is my producer name. So I try to tie a lot of art and music, the mentality that I had with the music of what I was trying to do with either get the stuff out. I kind of apply that the same way to the art world. And again, I'm a work in progress. It may not work for everybody, but for me, that's kind of that's where I'm at. It may not work. It may not work for everybody. Like I'd rather they say what they say all publicity is good publicity. So I'm
Absolutely.
the so something along the lines of that. Like I'm the kind of guy. Either I can paint a good picture and hope that a person comes across it, or I can just get on there and just say something. I don't want to say reckless, but I can get on there and just say something that's going to try to drive your attention to whatever I'm saying. And so I utilize that. Honestly, I don't sleep. Like I don't ever just kind of sit back and just wait for the stuff to come. It's going to be a point where it does. It's going to be a point where
Absolutely.
the stuff does. But until then, I try to make it happen. I make it happen. I don't exactly hope for. I don't hope for that something like that happen. I put stuff into place through art to make certain events happen for me. There we go.
Okay. Elaborate on that for me. I like the way that sounds. I like to hear a little more about that.
So I'm gonna break it. Okay, I'm gonna break out some planning stuff. I'm gonna break out some planning some planning things I did. I'm gonna run it down to a couple years ago. No, two years ago. Um, again, when I speak on the underdogs.
Okay.
And around 2016 or something, I was playing Safari. Safari, Nicki
Hmm.
Minaj's ex boyfriend. He'll
Yeah,
never
yeah,
give up.
yeah.
I was playing his mixtape, and I used to play the mixtape in the car on the way to work, and it's crazy again. People were like, "Yo, you listening?" Yeah, I was listening to. Yeah, I was listening to Safari, right? So, um, fast forward a couple of years. Now I'm doing art. I knew he was releasing a album. So I mean, I knew he was releasing the album. So I said, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try something. I want to do some
Hmm.
art inspired by his album, and I'm gonna
All
see
right.
what, and I'm gonna see if I can get him to share it. So I went into it with that mindset. I said,
Okay.
oh no, Was it? Did I see him share? I think I did. I did. That's what it was. I think I seen him share somebody else's art before, so I knew that it was a
Right.
possibility if I did
Right.
it.
Yeah.
That
That's what they kind of do sometimes.
you get, so again, yeah, my biggest. So I planned it out. I picked the picture. I did the art. Honestly, by the time I got to the end of the, I would say I rushed it. I rushed it towards the end.
Oh.
Like when people see the final video of that, like the hand, I did the hand. The hand was like 2% done. It was so much more I could have did, but I rushed it to make it work for the internet because I know, the internet really completely changed my whole mind state on how I produce my art and the kind of stuff that I put into the art. So I did the art. It took me like, I knew the album was dropping the next day or something like that. And it took me like a day to edit the video. I edited the video, boom, right? So I'm gonna post it in the morning. I wake up that morning and my wife tell me, Kobe Bryant died.
Man, I remember that day, bro. Yeah. I was actually in the middle of New York, visiting my brother, and like, we was waiting to get into this restaurant. And I was just scrolling, and I was like, "Yo," like I just looked at him and showed it to him. I was like, am I reading this right? And it was on a legit source, so I'm like, okay, this is not one of them like fake blogs or whatever. So like, in that day, from that day, like till the whole time I was in New York for 4 days. From that day, because that happened day one, I was in New York, and for the rest of the time I was in New York, bro, it was like it was a different place, and like that, like you just walk through the middle of the streets and you could hear people like, "Yo, you heard Kobe died," and like and people had on all their Lakers gear, and stuff like that. So man, I do remember like how like significant that was just for like, I mean the world. I would say like culture, but like for the world, like that was like significant, man.
No, 100%. Yeah, it was a crazy day. And how do I say it like this? I'm motivated. I am very motivated by what's around me. Okay. But in a way, it makes me put a focus into myself and I'm really, when I break down my work ethic. It's ethic.
You got it. It's ethic.
So it's put me into, I want to say, a selfish mode. And I'm gonna get back to the Kobe story in a second, but it put me into a selfish mode. Like, I mean, I'm quite sure you know it, as even as an artist yourself. Like, we have to sacrifice time from our families, from our friends to produce these items. There's been many a times that, I'm not gonna go out and hang. I probably spent weeks in just painting and focusing on myself, So this is the side effect. Now we can get into it. Kobe died.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't the biggest basketball fan, but I know Kobe. When I heard that, and this is gonna sound crazy as hell, but I'm gonna say it. I wasn't mad that Kobe died for Kobe. I was mad that he died on the day that I was about to share it. What I felt like I worked hard.
That's interesting.
What I worked hard for, and what I like. Again, I said I'm motivated by what's around me. So when Kobe passed, I was real sad. But I said, "Yo, this man done lived this life to the fullest. He's loved by the world. He has that. I'm motivated because I want that myself. So he endured it. He, what I'm saying, he had it. He lived it. He still got to live. It's crazy as heck. Even him about in the way that he passed on a luxury airline, like a private jet, like
a helicopter. But yeah,
it's crazy as heck. Very, very, very similar to it's a lot of the luxury. With money comes a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna get into this. It's never a Chicago story that I know you know of a famous woman. Some money stuff.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
But it's so it's a lot of stuff that come with that. So I was like, man, I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow, and I'm gonna miss the drop. And right, so I waited. I'm on my way to work. And I'm driving in the car. So right before I left the house for the work, I hit the post. I hit the post on the joint, and I tagged them or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm driving to work, taking me like half an hour to get there. I pull up to the job. I look at my phone, and it's like, you have 250 new followers.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is a half an hour. And I look, I said, oh, she shared it. From that point on, I said, I could do stuff for me, but what I do is still for me, but it's going to be, I have to maximize. I have to maximize these posts. I have to maximize this art. I can do the example. I'm going to break down some art philosophy kind of on some stuff. Like, so let's say,
let's hear it.
For this one, I tagged them, but I didn't make this to aim this at Nas. To be honest with you, I didn't make this to aim this at Nas. I made this for Nas fans.
Right. Okay.
This isn't for. I make certain stuff specifically that I want to get to that individual. That I want that individual to have. And so I did. I said, "Oh wow, man!" And I got the numbers game is it's no lie. People know you can get caught up in that, but as an artist, I'm not in it for the vanity behind the numbers. I just know it's a big. In fact, I want to speak about that too. I'm gonna get to this. Big of a reach. I feel like. Hold on. I'm gonna write this down, and I'm gonna take a quick note on this.
Go for it.
Is the amount of money you can charge, kind of based on followers too.
Okay. You think so?
I have a slight. No. That definitely not exactly. But I feel like the people, let's say, for like a casual viewer of art, they they'd be like, so they're done. They're talking about like, going to the price. Oh, who's this guy? He only got 200 followers. I know the work look like that, but like the numbers have changed people's minds. Like it's really like psychology. Like they say, oh, he got 10,000 followers. I can see why he's charging me 1,000 or something like that. But it's crazy. It's a mentality thing. So much of my art journey, and everything from the style of everything to how I do, it's kind of been based on either an algorithm or something of that. Like my art is to try to find ways to beat the algorithm, to try to find any way to get around, and every method of what I can do to try to get around and beat this algorithm so that this art can get out and be seen.
I like that. I like the way that sound. So I want to double back on something, because you was talking about like basically, from what I'm listening to, it's like being pulled in multiple directions, like your needs as a father, or your duties as a father, your duties as a husband. I get a sense that you feel a responsibility towards the culture, a duty towards your viewers or your fans, if you will. What does Frankie do in terms of self-care when you need to wind down, or you need to just recharge your battery? Because I mean, you're a busy guy. You're doing a lot. You're producing, and as we know, as artists, this is not just physical energy we're talking about when we talk about creating paintings and drawings and things. It's not just our physical energy that's being used. It's our mental and spiritual energy as well. So in a sense, this is a total body experience. Being in your studio, this is sacred ground in your studio, and the level of connection that you have with what you do. Like when people say you put body and soul into a piece, that is not a joke. That is an actual thing. So what do you do in terms of self-care?
Biggest thing is I try to take I want to say a lot of breaks.
Okay.
But it was a time when I would get up, and many days I'll get up. I'm not brushing my teeth. I'm not grabbing. I get up, go right out from the room, out to the canvas, out the bed, out to the canvas, right to it. Like I'm trying to. It's been times When you talk about mental stuff, I'll definitely break this down. Like I paint my sleep.
Oh
I
man, let's
paint,
hear it.
I paint in my sleep. Everything I start, and I so like example like this. Let's say I started. I put it down at 4 a.m. When I'm in bed, I'm painting it in my head. I'm seeing the strokes. I
Mm.
can't stop. I can't. It never stops. And I paint it and I paint it. And hopefully I'm even sleeping. Hopefully, because it's like I'm not painting in my dream. Like I'm painting it in my head. So I may not even be fully like sleep, but I can see the strokes, I can see the approach. So by the time when I get back to it in the morning, I already kind of did it already. So when I
Oh
get back
man,
to it, like I already get kind of so. But like I said, it's a lot to come with that. So sometimes, so even with that being said, sometimes I may need to, because I've been thinking about it all night. I may not be able to get up and just get to it. I may need to sit my ass in bed a little bit longer. I may need to. No,
okay.
I may
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to.
yeah.
I may want to sit in bed a little bit longer. One of the recent things that I bought a bike, an electric bike, and I bought it to take it out into the city and really get a chance to get back out and really enjoy the weather. And much of the
Okay.
time, many times that has become a piece for me. But I'm gonna be honest with you, being out on that bike, all I see is business. Whenever I'm on that bike,
Mm.
all I see is it's just never what I see anybody with a dog, and as you know, my baby right here. So I'll bring this with me. I t- I'll bring this painting with me, strapped to the back of my bike, because I know I'm gonna pass by over 100 people with pets, and as long as my business cards are on me, it takes nothing. I pull up the bike quick. Hey, how you doing? I'm FrankieMadeIt. Hey, a beautiful dog you got. Hey, I don't know if you was ever interested in a dog portrait, but hey, this is what I do. Here's my card, and I'm on that e-bike. I'm at 60 miles an hour. In 4 seconds, I'm out the way. I'm out the way. But many times when I do get on my bike, sometimes I don't bring the paper, and I don't exactly feel at peace because I feel like I missed out on the business. So when I don't bring it,
Oh,
I
okay.
feel like I just want to. I can't enjoy it. I just can't enjoy the ride because I feel like I'm passing by and I'm trying to get to it. I'm trying to get to it. So I've been trying
Yeah.
to find the balance of that. But those have been my main forms of um, like relaxation. I mean, sometimes I play the video games. Sometimes I play the video games. Um, but much of it is, and I'm trying to get off this. Like everything, like I soak in so much art. Like I honestly, I stay on Instagram, and all I follow many artists, and I just soak in
Right.
all day, just soak in. So if I'm not painting art, I'm looking at art, and I'm seeing different styles of art, and just thinking of different ways to, different ways to push the grind.
Okay. And, like, what do you think are the effects of like constantly like soaking in so much information? Are you receiving more of a positive feedback loop, or is this more something that's like there's some good and bad to soaking in so much?
The two things I'm gonna run one positive, one negative. What I can think of real quick.
Okay.
Um, a negative in that and soaking up all that is like I'm gonna run this back to the music stuff I was talking about. Eminem, he says when he's doing his album, he doesn't listen to nobody else because he don't want to soak up nothing and may repeat a line or something that he heard or feel like he got influenced by something else.
I get that.
So with the art, like you more like you may get influenced. It may my trajectory has been, I would say exactly changed by so okay. How it's helped me is this the trends. Because again, the art, how you get it out, again, it's not exactly about the final art. It's about the trend. So I'll look up certain things. I'll look up, I'll go to Reels and I'll check out the certain popular stuff. And I'll tell you honest with you, I hate this. Actually hate that this even has to be done. But it's
Talk
just
about it.
what I hate of what the algorithm has done to the art. Again, like we're we're taking these paintings, he's spending probably 50 hours on it. And when
Mm-hmm.
I show it to the world, I gotta show you 7 seconds of it.
Uh,
That really that starts to I'm not gonna lie how that affect me with the art. Yeah, oh so yeah, there we go. I made less in the detail. I made short.
Oh,
I made
okay.
there we go. I definitely will. I will short the details. I'm like, when they look at it, I'm like, that same 7 seconds, they may not even be able to soak it all. They can't fully soak that up. But at the end of the day, even if they was to soak it up, within 7 seconds of that, they go on to the next thing.
Right.
So
Yeah, you're right.
it completely changed my mind about how I approach the art. Like I look at certain stuff, I'm like, I can keep going, but I'm like, stop. Because people want to take in what this is. I've never placed at the max, probably 2 weeks, maybe, but that's on and off into a project. There's artists out there
Mm,
that they work on something. The traditional art was months to years.
yeah,
The
I
traditional painting from months
definitely
to years.
I definitely have projects like that, so I know exactly what you mean. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, like the most, like a fusion of my work. Like, if anybody that follows me on IG, shameless plug, sneakerfairkicks.com, uh,
no, plug.
Instagram.com/sneakerfairkicks. If you check on there, there's a picture of some Air Force Ones, a high top that I painted like all panels, every panel is both shoe, like an entire, like it's like a mural, like a baseball mural. I mean, I've been working on those shoes for like, I mean, since last summer. I've been working
Woo!
on those for a while. And like we was talking about, like the energy and how you get drained. I mean, every little piece of that shoe has like insane detail, because I like to go I like hyper realism,
Yeah,
and I try to go as realistic as I can. Now there are some limitations when it goes to like working on a shoe, but I'm trying
oh
to
yeah,
push that edge. I'm trying to see, like, every day, like I was talking about it earlier today on IG, that my work to me is a challenge. I'm going in like a bullfighter.
yeah,
I'm the matador, and my canvas is the bull. I'm trying to see how much of my way I can get when it comes to my work. I want to impose my will on my paintbrushes, on my paint, on the canvas, on the shoes, on the techniques. Every part of this, I want to impose my will. So it is exhausting, because, the act of, using sheer will to
yes.
make something happen is hard.
Because you
And
got to
so,
keep
like,
pushing. You have to keep you like right. You got to keep
right.
pushing, keep pushing.
Right. Absolutely. And that's how I am. Like, in one of the other ways I like to describe what I do is, I like to see how much I can get away with.
Ooh,
Every time I'm trying something, this is like a tug of war between me and my subject. Me, and it's, in a sense, it's like I'm being pulled in two places, because it's me and the subject on one side, and it's me and the canvas and the materials on the other. So I'm like pulling from like both ends, like, like who's going to give me the most, who's going to let me get away with the most. Is this, am I going to be able to dominate this subject, or am I going to be able to dominate these materials? Which one
yeah,
of these is going to allow me to have my way today? And if I really can get away with it, I'm gonna have my way with the subject and the material. And like that game is exhausting, like trying to do that. So with that shoe, there's over 100 hours in that pair of shoes. Like it's a ridiculous amount. Like some guys, I hear, in like the, like custom sneakers, like maybe like a couple of days. If they quantify it in hours, like I don't know, like maybe 20 hours or something like that. Some people say even less. When they go take a more of a simple approach to designing. But like canvas, I mean, that shoe is probably the most detail and the longest amount of time I've put into a shoe. But a canvas, oh man, you know, if I really get into it, like, yeah, it could be 6 months, a year, 2 years.
woo,
it's because that energy is put out, and there are some things, because you put so much energy and you put so much soul into it, that recharge takes long. It's a long time, like I could put, and that's why I was asking about like mental health and like your self-care routine, because for me, like I just maybe 2 3 days ago, I just recovered from being like really really sick, and when I was like, I just couldn't figure out what was going on. I'm like, I'm experiencing this. Is this COVID? No, I already had it, so I know what it feels like. So this is kind of mild. Do I got the flu? No, because I had no coughing, none of that kind of stuff. No mucus, no congestion. It was all in my head. So I had the severe migraine for like an entire week.
Whoa.
And when I realized it, I was like, dude, like you are severely dehydrated. Because every time you go to the bathroom, look at the color that's coming out. You are severely dehydrated. And you know how you dehydrated? Because for the last 3 weeks, you put at least like 12 to 18 hours in the studio.
Yeah.
You only come out to eat and sleep. You have not taken a break in 3 to 6 weeks. You have worked consistently for 3 to 6 weeks. The only time I came out here was to eat, sleep, go to my son's basketball games. If I had to grocery shop, only for priorities. And like I consider my family things priorities.
Yeah.
But I wasn't, if you will, I wasn't making like mental health and self care priority. Like, hey, don't work today. Do something that's not on the schedule. For yourself. Do something that's not on the schedule with the fam. I would just go like, okay, dude, like you got a deadline. It paid off because Friday was a beautiful night. I was amongst celebrities, chilling, hanging out, in VIP with my own bottles, balling,
Yeah.
looking dope. I had a great experience, a great reception, and it paid off, but it could not have happened because so it's Sunday. Um, Thursday was when I finally started to feel like myself. And it was like it was like late Thursday afternoon. So all Thursday I was fearful, and which probably made it worse, for a little bit. But granted, like my fever broke, the migraine went away, and I just had to say, thank God, because I was very fearful. It's like this is over. I put in like 6 weeks of grinding, busting my butt, pushing out. I don't even remember how many projects I did in 6 weeks. I don't remember. All of that stuff that I did. I made sure that I got my new business cards on time. I changed a lot of my promotional stuff. I made sure I got on time. I made sure that my presentation was right, the boxes, all of this stuff. And here I am with hours to go before this event, and I might have to tap out because I pushed and pushed and pushed and never ever considered just one time, can you just take one day? Can you
Yeah.
just take a couple hours out of every day? Because the truth is I probably could have done so, but I just did not want to because I was too busy trying to ensure that everything went right. You know, um, it paid off. But I really had to sit with myself. You know, yesterday morning and just say, you know, there are times where that's not gonna pay off, and
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not so ignorant to not believe so because I've been there before where I grinded and I burned, I put my nose to the grindstone. I burned and burned and burned. I burned energy that I did not have. And it did not work in my favor.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely. No.
and for me, I'm sure some other people have had this experience, but it put me in a dark place because it's like I burned and burned and burned. and overworked, and it did not pay off. And I blamed everything but my habits.
Mm. Yeah.
So in this time I knew better, but I chose to still go the other way.
And fully
And I
get
just got and I just got lucky. That's it. I just got lucky.
I mean, in comparison to that, I haven't faced anything like that. I guess I'd be probably taking more breaks than I should. Like, when I say I paint every day, even if
No
I
such thing.
paint for like two hours or something like that, at time I go back and forth, like. But even if I paint for like 2
I
hours,
know that feeling.
I painted for a day, and I'd be feeling like that's too much. But so I'm speaking on it. So this definitely I want to speak on. To artists out there that's doing this art, again, with anything that you do in life, you really got to approach it. If you're not going to work for a company, you got to understand. Again, these companies, they're paying you to take your time. So if you say you will do something on your own, you have to make use of that time. So
That's true.
Treat it like a job. You're 100% treat it like a job. And honestly, I'm trying to get better. I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to get better at that. Like, I'll get up, and I probably should get right to it. But again, it's still a balance with that. You got to have that balance, even with treating it like a job. But to understand that everything that comes from what you do or what you create, much of it is based on how hard you want it and how hard you want to get that stuff out.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, man. This is great content. If y'all can, please share these streams. Support the stream. We doing big things. This is beautiful content. I hope everybody's getting something out of this. So I want to get some. I want to pull up this article and get some feedback from you, because I stumbled on this last night when I was just scrolling and I'm looking around. I say, I want to get some good topics, and I try to get topics. Even when I'm on like Instagram or Facebook Live or whatever, I try to get good topics that I feel resonate with the people that I know I'm gonna talk to. And so in doing so, I was just looking around and reading like blogs and stuff, and I found this one, and I thought that this is something that you could weigh real heavy in on. Okay,
give me two seconds right before we start that. I'm about to pour this cup of orange juice. Give me 2 seconds.
Go ahead. Pour your cup of orange juice. Okay. All right. So for the viewers, this blog post comes from messyeverafter.com. I'm gonna type that in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
You just like me. I love some orange juice. Like any time of the day, I would drink orange juice.
That's it. It costs. I'm like,
oh, it do. It definitely do. Yeah, you ain't lying. Okay, so again, this is from messyeverafter.com. Okay, the title of the blog post is "Why Nobody Wants Your Art."
Mm-hmm.
Let that soak in. Why nobody wants your art. You can find this also on IG at messyeverafter. Shout out to messyeverafter. Okay. Yeah. It says nobody wants your art, but it's not because it's bad. Are you having trouble selling your art? I know the struggle. Selling art is hard. Why? Because when you are just starting out, nobody really wants your art. That's not to be discouraging. It's a realistic assessment of the art world. Let's face it, there are a lot of artists out there, a lot of talented artists. The demand for art doesn't even come close to matching up with the supply. Yes, people want art. There are many art lovers hidden in communities that will support small, independent, and unpolished artists with enthusiasm. It feels like you struck gold when you find one of them, but for the rest of your interactions with the arts community, it can feel like you can't even give your art away. Mm-hmm. Believe me, I've tried. Yeah. That's something, ain't it?
Yep.
That's something, ain't it?
I definitely. Yeah, I'm ready for this one. Ooh, I'm ready for this one.
Yeah. Okay. So
keep going.
Sure. But in bold, it says, but this isn't because your artwork is bad. It's 100%. You got to believe that. You got to believe that no matter what. You're not selling. It's not because you don't do good work. You might internalize a lack of sales and think, wow, my art must really suck. But it's not. That's not the problem most of the time. If you're an artist, you know full well just how saturated the market is with talent. We are all competing to find those precious art lovers and sometimes stomping on each other in the process. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay. So it says in parentheses, even hearing artists say that's not art to another artist, you know what I mean.
Yes.
So what do you know? What do you do when nobody wants your art? It's easy. You have to convince people they want it. Now, anybody who watches this stream, if you know me, you know that I tell you that you must convince people that they want what you have. That is true. I know some of you feel like, oh, well, if they want it, they want it. What if they don't know they want it? You need to be willing to, and you need to be, I won't say aggressive, but you need to be proactive in showing people that they want what you sell. Don't leave it up to them because they'll just walk away. This lady, excuse me, I didn't even mention her name. Shame on me, bad manners. Her name is Kelly Marie. Again, this is from messyeverafter.com, Instagram messyeverafter. Okay, so she says, let me go back. All right. So what do you do when nobody wants your art? It's easy. You have to convince people they want it. Facts. I'm sorry to all my fellow shy introverts, but it's time to put your sales face on. Did I not just say that? Why people don't want your art and how to fix that. Oh, we done lost Frankie. What happened to Frankie? Uh-oh. So we get on back. Jump back on, Frankie, if you can. All right. Okay. So I'm just gonna continue. There you go. All right. Let me add Frankie back in, y'all.
Man, you know what's crazy? Soon as we join, my apologies. Look, soon as it joined back, now it's plugged up to now that piece worked. So
that's hilarious. Sure.
Hold on. I'm gonna take this off though.
Sure. Okay. So she says, why people don't want your art and how to fix that. Selling your art is just that, selling. You need to be a salesperson and convince your potential customer why your art is meaningful and why they should want it. If you aren't making sales, maybe it's because you haven't sold your story yet. I mean, I don't know. Again, if you listen to me, if you follow me, if we have had personal conversations, you have heard me tell you that people don't know your story. They have no reason to be interested in you. You have to do that. Reach out, let them know, talk to them, give them the story. The shorter, the better. If you can tell that story in less than 60 seconds, you got them. It's called a hook point. You Google it. Okay. Wait, what do you think about that? Before we continue on, what do you think about that? The reason people don't want your art is because you haven't told your story.
Yes, I do believe in that 100%. Much of the art, it's not, people don't exactly buy the art for the art. Many times they buy art to support the artist. They will buy art because they like the artist. And that's really what it is. But you have to show them more than art. Even if it's a snippet of a story about the work in each post. Or, you may dedicate a whole, a post to a bit of your story, but you have to let people know, especially with this art stuff, it's not all positive. The majority of I follow a lot of people that follow me are artists themselves, so I speak to the artists about the artist journey. But then a lot of people who ain't artists, they have no idea. So I always see it like on a very personal note. For how do I say this? On a very personal note, I try to, yeah, get. I implement a lot of personal stuff, and I speak on stuff that some people may not speak on. Either
Mm-hmm.
they feel it'll kind of cloud or clog their journey or dilute their journey. But when I say personal, at the end of the day, I know when I die, I don't want nobody else telling my story. So I use,
Hey.
I don't want no one else kind of trying to speak for me. So I hate to say it, like I kind of outside of the art, I utilize the post to make certain like landmarks for stuff. Let's say if I ever was to pass, people could scroll back and they can see bits of my story from the struggles to the successes.
Yeah.
They can look back and they can still look at that journey. But if all I'm doing is just showing the paintings, they have no real idea about what what I'm going or
Right.
artist.
Right. Yeah. I get you. So you gonna get a kick out of this, okay. So that was just the title for her first reason. You haven't told your story. Here we go. Who were your followers? Who are your first followers? Likely friends and family, right? Now ask yourself, why did they buy from you? There you go. Why did they buy from you? Part of it was probably that they just wanted to support what you were doing. Did you not just say that?
Yes. Yeah.
Hello, people. We in the church now. We in the church. Again, you are not the only talented person, a talented artist out there. Not even close. If you just put your art into the world without context, you won't gain much interest. Did I not tell you that? The doors of the church are now open. Think of Instagram posts without captions. Boring, right?
Yeah.
You need to build context around your art and tell your story. But what if I'm not very interesting? That's the question. Sometimes it doesn't matter what the story is, but how you tell it. Comedians and writers make the mundane interesting all the time. How can you tell your story and make it interesting? When you're selling your work in person, this is what I told you. You need to talk to people. If you are shy, if you are a shy introvert like me, so as she says, it will be painful, but it's necessary. I used to be that way. I didn't want to talk. I just wanted to be like, oh look what I did.
Yeah.
I had to stop because I got tired of seeing that nothing was happening. And I got tired of looking at piles of work, and it's like, damn, look at all this beautiful stuff. It's because you don't talk, stupid. And I had to talk to myself like that and say, like, this is your fault. It's your fault. And eventually it changed me because I'm like, I'm tired of, realizing that all this is my fault.
Yes.
And so I just jumped in. Okay, it's painful, but it's necessary. Sometimes being an artist is a performance. You talked about this earlier. Being an artist is a performance. Commit to it and go and ask that stranger about the kind of art they like. You talked about this with getting on your bike and talking to the pet owners. You got to do it, people. You got to get out there.
Yeah.
When selling online, always put time into writing a caption and product descriptions. When your following is low and nobody is reading, it might feel awkward, but you're going to have a one-sided conversation for a while. This is facts. Before April is over, I will be somewhere in the 8.5, possibly 9K in followers. Appreciate it. That's I made a huge jump within this year actually. So I mean, it's only March, but I've probably snatched up about 2,000 something followers just this year.
Did you want to
I
speak
started.
on did you want to speak on what you feel like may have been contributed to that jump?
Absolutely, but I'm gonna save that for a different. I'm gonna say that for a different episode.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, but I did it, and it happened. And well, I can give you a brief description. Part of that is that I changed the way I told my story. That's a big part of it. I changed the way I told my story. Years ago on IG. So I'm gonna say I only got into the thousands maybe in the last 3 years. I got into the thousands. I was in like the hundreds, maybe 3 years ago or so. But it's because I changed the way I told my story. And as time was going on in these 3 years, I improved the way I told my story, And now you see that we're on live stream running a podcast. Hopefully this is going to continue to help me tell my story, help others tell their story, and bring a bigger crowd. So, this is what she's talking about. Like, you can't worry about that. You're gonna be talking to yourself. I was definitely talking to myself for a while, and it just worked. Eventually somebody notices, and what happens is they go, hey, come look at this. And then other people come. And the algorithm is that person. The algorithm is the person that's like, hey, come look at this. That's what your explore page is. Your explore page is somebody saying, hey, look at this. You might like this. That person that comes up to you and is like, oh, I see what you're doing right there. You might like this too. That's the algorithm. But you have to work until the algorithm sees you, and you do certain things that catches the algorithm's attention too. But anyway, back to the article. Yeah. Reason number 2 is you don't get your work out there enough. I talk to everybody I know about this. I know for a fact that there is not a person that I communicate with frequently that does not hear me say, you got to get out there more. You got to get out there more. I found this out again in the last 3 years has been a huge shift for me. And that's why I can talk about it like this. It's been a huge shift because I just got tired of a lot of things, and I lost a good job. And this was the only thing I knew I could depend on. So, my artwork was the only thing I could depend on. It's the only thing I could do best, So I just decided to just envelop myself. No more distractions. No more trying to do this. No more trying to do that. No more distractions. Do art. Do what you do best and kill. And so one of the things I did was I got an invite from a group that does like traveling pop-up shows across. I know it's global because they do a few in different countries. But they were like, hey, we got one coming in Chicago. Why don't you be a part of it? All you gotta do is sell 400 tickets, like $20 a piece, 400 tickets. Mm-hmm. And I was looking through and I say, man, when people go to these shows, it's like thousands of people there. This is a great opportunity. And I'm going to use this as a challenge to myself to step my game up. If I cannot make this happen, then I need to get over it and realize that I'm forever going to have to work a regular job if I cannot make this happen. Because there's no way with the amount of passion I have that I should not be able to do this. So if I cannot do it, then this is telling me something. So I took the challenge. I made it happen. I stepped out. Best night of my life. Well, one of the best nights of my life. And I mean, I made so much money it wasn't even funny, and this is, prior to that was 6 months of hardcore studying on how to hack these algorithms, how to promote myself, how to run my business better. I mean, I got books on this shelf over here. I could just looking, I know it's over 20. I read most of these books in 6 months. Just trying to figure out how to do this stuff. YouTube videos, seminars, whatever. I was just fully invested. And one of those things was getting out there. And I know me and you talked about that personally. I was telling you some things that I did in those years that worked for me. So what she's saying is the more people see your work, the more likely they are to appreciate it and buy it. Even hear a new song on the radio and you kind of hate it at first, but then a couple weeks later you find yourself singing every word and then you end up buying it or adding it to a playlist. Sounds like listening to some Drake music. Same idea. Same idea. In marketing, there's a.
I wanted to speak. I wanted to speak on that. I'm gonna
lay into it, bro. Lay into it.
No, keep going. Keep going with yours.
Sure. Okay. In marketing, there's a rule of 7. Hey, I don't know how many books I done read that talk about rule of 7. Where a customer needs to be exposed to your product 7 times before committing to it. keep pushing and keep pushing yourself out there. This means having an Etsy shop, Facebook page, Instagram, Tumblr, Pinterest, maybe a blog. Do local art fairs. We talked about that, right? Get to know local businesses, team up with other artists, enter contests, group shows, post on art subreddits, etc. Be strategic, consistent, and persistent. I have told this to everybody I know when they come to me about their sales, when they come to me about their exposure. Literally, this last line, is having a blog, Etsy, Facebook, Tumblr, Pinterest, Twitch, whatever it is that you vibe with, use it to the fullest. Know the ins and outs of it. Know the habits of the people who are on these platforms. Me and you talked about this. We've been talking about this for like weeks. Get to know the locals. Get to know the culture of where you live. Do they have art fairs? Do they, get to know the businesses? Like I was telling you about coffee shops. If you go in a coffee shop, especially if it's a local coffee shop in your town or whatever, look in there. If you see artwork in there or anything, or like sculptures, anything, chances are somebody in your town made that stuff. And now because like coffee shops are like hipster town, So all you need to do is start talking to these people. Them coffee shops, go in there. Ask them, do they do open mic nights? I promise you that they do something that's for the public that gets them exposure. Convince them that you can help them with that exposure. And get in there. Make it happen. It's so easy. I do it all the time. But that's pre-COVID. I do it all the time. Now, I'm not getting nobody about to call for me. You hear me? But get to know the local business. It don't gotta be a coffee shop, man. I put stuff in other people's sneaker shops. I've done it. I know some of you have done so. Keep doing it. Go find some other sneaker shops, not just one, a bunch of them. Hell, I don't even care if it's a gas station. If a gas station lets you put your stuff in there, do it. Hopefully something happens. Teaming up with other artists. Chicago, huge artist hub. Most of us know each other or have worked with somebody that the other one knows, and we develop these networks that way. When I got into that again, like 3 years ago, developing that network, my network is huge, extensive. We throw each other bones. It's like, hey, I can't go, but maybe you can go. If you want to go, I speak to some people, reserve a spot for you. Just show up, make your money. One of us is developing a pop-up. There's a pop-up every week in Chicago, maybe more than one. I've been to at least 2 in the same day. It's like that out here, and it just be one person. It's like, bro, I got a spot, I got a location, show up, but that comes from networking and teaming up with these guys, entering contests, not online. Okay, you could do the online, but I promise you can't, in this day and age of just digital everything, showing up in person is so much more immediate. Being online is like fishing. You just waiting for somebody to bite. You cannot forget about the public sector. Get out there, enter an art contest that's in public. It wasn't an art contest, but it was a gallery showing. I did a gallery showing in Paris, and I'm doing another one this year. The same thing. They appreciate it. They sent us one shoe. They sent us a Jordan 1. And all we had to do was customize and design it, and through that process, I was vlogging, I was just doing lives every day, showing my process, talking to the other people that was part of this process. I met a lot of dope French artists through this process. I met artists from Brazil, artists from, I think there was some from South Africa, but I met people from around the world, artists from Holland, Denmark, stuff like that. I met a lot of people through this one event. This was a global event, but it was centered in Paris. Granted, I didn't get to make it to the show. I didn't get to make it because there was like a big COVID spike, and my family needed me, so I couldn't really do it. But the people who were already in France, in Paris, they live streamed it for us. So all of us that couldn't make it could see it, and the shoes sold, so I made a little money off of it too, so it was a great thing. On my wall right here is, my they sent a fancy letter, a fancy invite letter, with the fancy colored paper,
Yeah.
the parchment colored paper, with the invite on it right here. I hung that on my wall. That's an accomplishment. In Chicago, there are artists who will never have work that leave Chicago. That's an
Yes.
accomplishment. That's an accomplishment. I did that, because I reached out, I networked, I bust my butt. And that's how you bust your butt. Busting your butt is not spending 30 hours in your studio making 10 pictures. Busting your
Yeah.
butt is networking.
Yes. Yeah. I want to piggyback on that one, and I'm gonna double back.
Go for it, bro. Go for it.
100% of what you said. The grind. When I started, and I'm talking about up until like this, within a year. I've been painting for 2 years. But I've been doing art for about 4 or 5, right? But that's what I thought the work was. Just, I say, okay, I really believed, I'm telling you the honest truth, I really believed that I could paint something, and I would paint it so good. I would paint it very quality art that when I posted, people would have no choice but to like it and more than likely buy it. That's not how it works. That's not
Absolutely.
how it works. And there's a lot of consistency that goes with that, but that's so. Yeah, that's just not how. Honestly, that's not how it works. So definitely, and you spoke huge on. Make sure you utilize your local resources. Make sure you get that stuff outside. Get it out. Get it out. People, they want to see it. They want to touch it. They want to see it. They want to feel it. They want to feel you. Just off the stand, you standing next to that painting, they can see you in the flesh. That's your story. That's a piece of your story. They know that you are somebody who's confident enough to bring their stuff out. And they may not even know your whole story, but they see you out there with it. They know, oh, this guy, they don't know how often you do it. They see you out there like, oh, they must be real good at this. Because they're out here. I can never see myself going out there and doing that and paint. Man, I like their I like their confidence. Let me go talk to them. They're going to feel comfortable.
Yeah, you become a hero to people like that.
Straight up.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so she says number 3 is you haven't given it enough time. A successful art career in most situations is going to take a lot of time. I can speak on that for days. Time to develop your style, time to find your niche, to build a following, to build an inventory, to learn how to market yourself. I promise you, I've spent years doing each one individually, and now it's all just working at the same time. The machine is finally oiled and running smooth. I promise you. Okay, so sure, some things can happen quickly, but you may go a long while without feeling like you've made any progress. This is when it's most important to keep going. In fact, because that is most important to keep going, because that's when everybody quits.
Yeah.
It has taken me a long time to figure out my own path. I'm speaking from experience. Same. So I have been drawing, painting, being a creative for 30 years. 30 years. I'm young. Yes, I look young. That's because I started at 3 to 4. That's when I started. My family is full of creative people. Most of them are musicians, though. They play organs, pianos, yada yada. That's what they're known for. I am the second artist in let's see. So my great grandfather. Sure. One of my great grandfathers was an artist, and so my great grandfather, if he was alive, he would be 100 plus, like 100 something. So I am the second in 1, 2, 3, like 4 generations of my family. I'm the second artist, visual artist. And my grandfather, that wasn't his lifestyle. That was his hobby. So I'm the first to create a lifestyle. I am the first to create a lifestyle from this. The first. I'm the
Yeah,
first to live it.
that's beautiful.
He probably didn't take his art seriously, and he was excellent. I can't have that picture because my great grandmother is still alive, and I know it means a lot to her. As his survivor. I want it when it's her time. I would like to keep it as a keepsake, but until then, it belongs to her. But I don't know if he ever considered himself an artist or if he considered himself somebody who draws. It's a
Yeah,
difference.
yeah.
So in 30 years, I have done all of this. It takes time. I've spent, most of this time, still even to this day, developing my style. I improve. I take things away. I add things on. Finding my niche. I spent 3 years trying to figure that out. How was I gonna do it? No, you might as well say 4. I spent 4 years, maybe even 5. Let's go 5. Damn, let's go 5. I spent 5 years figuring out what people want to see this stuff. Where do they
Hmm.
go? Where do they live? What do they eat? What do they talk about? How do they talk? How, all those things, trying to figure that out so that I can work, building a following. Same amount of time because I was doing both at the same time.
Yeah.
Where are these people and how do I get them on my team? Building an inventory, that is a lifetime thing. I have been my entire life is building pieces, but I can't keep them because I've been blessed that people want them. But still, building an inventory where I struggle is I make something people like I want it, give me.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah,
can't build a stock, you know, because I do one of ones. So I can't build a stock. If somebody wants it, I let them have it. Hey,
mhm.
if you can pay the price, it's yours. I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna say no, no, no. I'm trying to wait till I get like 30 paintings and then I'm gonna start selling them. Hey, as soon as you see it, take it. You got the money, it's yours. It belongs to you. So that and learning how to market myself, which is in some ways something that all has also taken me a lifetime to figure out. I first got into learning how to sell myself as a teenager. Because I have had the privilege of having private tutors in this art world. So watching them and seeing how they do it and the little gems they offer me, as they speak, have taught me things. But I wasn't adept at application because I was still young and naive, and I had my own opinions about how the art world should go. Now as an adult, I mean, again, like I told you, I spent 6 months reading at least like 20 books. That is where I started to get my education, and that's been in the last 2 to 3 years. Because I was early on in this like 5 year period, I was just trying what I knew, and it was working, but it was moving too slow. And I'm like, it's moving way too slow. Knowing that people go viral, I'm moving
Yeah,
way too slow, and so I had to say, what am I doing that's not working? And one of those things was I'm not educating myself. I'm just going off what I know.
yeah, yeah.
So I
That's
started looking at blogs, videos, and stuff like that. But then I had to, like my mom, oddly enough, just like came up in my head. So again, like that little voice sometimes is, you need to listen to it. And the little voice came in my mom's tone. And my mom used to always say to me, because I grew up in the '90s, wasn't no internet, and it wasn't as dope as it was when it came around. Um, was if you want to know something, it's in a book. Go
yes.
read a book. Go to the library. We live close enough. Go to the library. Go get a book. You know. Or if I talked about something that I didn't know anything about and she caught me, she'd be like, I want you to go get a book and learn about what you're talking about because you don't know what you're talking about.
You
She
know,
would do
I
me
was
like
thinking
that.
that, I was thinking that real quick. I
Go
want to
for
tell
it.
you that
Go
real
for it.
quick. I remember as a kid, me and you, we around the same age too. The how to draw books where
Yeah.
it may have like the picture of a cat or something on the front cover, and then it would be like a circle, then a square, and every page would
Mm-hmm.
tell you. What was crazy is I used to get those books all the time as a kid, and I was in that same vein. I was being like stubborn. Like I never wanted. to learn it that way. And honestly,
Right.
I'm gonna say this honestly, I'm still paying for that today. I wish I would have learned the square circle stuff. I wish I would have soaked
Yeah.
that in.
I
And
got a little pushback on that when you done.
yeah, it's like so. What and I say it to say I'm still operating. It's hard for me in today's age. It's hard for me to step outside of the traditional reference picture, whether it should
Okay.
be because again, I'm at this age. I don't know. What I can do, I can paint the hell out of what I see, but
Yeah, me too.
I couldn't recreate and change the pose like that. I would get shaky. I would so nothing back
I
in the day
understand
for
that.
those books. I wish I would at least picked up the concept of that, the concept of how to build it. Because I'll leave it at that. I wish I would have picked up the concept of how to really build it. Because now
Right.
at my age, I'm feeling like certain stuff is kind of stiff. I feel stiff. I feel stiff.
Wow.
I feel like I could make certain stuff move better if I would have figured it out.
Right. That's
But
deep.
I'm still too. I just want to get the work done. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make a beautiful picture, but basically what I'm saying, don't not do the research for certain things, no matter what it is. If it's you gotta put the work in. The art is the least. It's really, I'm gonna say it. I don't know if you agree with this or not. I'm gonna say like the art is one of the least important pieces or the least deciding factors if you can be successful as an artist. Weirdly, I'm gonna say that.
I full-heartedly agree. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that's one of the pushbacks I have when people talk. It's like, man, I'm just going to bust my butt. I'm just going to go hard. And, I'm going to keep building my style. I'm going to keep improving this. Like, you're still not going to get nowhere. Because, I mean, here's the thing. There are, so I don't know the 100% statistic, but I know a little bit of the statistic enough to say it clearly. 1% of college athletes will go to the leagues that they plan to go to. Less than 1% will go to the leagues that they go to. But this does not invalidate them as athletes. Some of those athletes that do not make it are still superior athletes. The problem is that nobody marketed them.
Yeah.
Those athletes that make it to the NBA, the NFL, and all that are also athletes that got marketed to them, to the NFL, to the NBA, the NHL, yada yada yada. You know why? Because it's called scouting. That is being marked. That somebody marketed them. Somebody said, "Hey, you might want to take this rookie." They got marketed. But guess what? On another level, the school marketed them. The school said this person is way too talented not to go to the league. And the school gets a little pushback money for doing so. So these people are marketed. You have to do that with yourself as well. But but it's not because of how dope they play. They have to learn how to talk.
Yeah.
They have to learn how to talk. They have to learn how to dress. They do have to get some reasonable grades. They don't have to be straight A students, but they have to have reasonable grades because they don't want to hire idiots. These are things that they have to do. They have to round out the wheelhouse. They just can't be super talented. They need more than that. The NBA, I know for sure, puts people through financial courses now because most of these athletes within the 10 years of them retiring, they're broke because they don't know how to handle their money. So the NFL does things like that. They teach people how to talk, impress. They teach people different things. Because they realize that I just can't have just super talented athlete. I have to groom them in other ways for their sake and my sake as well. But you said something that I want to push back on. You elaborated on it, and I receive what you said. But for other people, you don't have to master a technique whatsoever. You don't. You can dabble in it. You can practice it. But what you cannot do makes you unique. What you can do also makes you unique. Both of them together makes you complete. What you cannot do, or what you cannot do good, is also something that people notice, and it makes you different. So, like those of you who are like, "Oh, I gotta master this," you don't have to master nothing. Or like, "Oh, if I don't like," for instance, what we do for a lot of people, me and you, Frankie, what we do is considered like the epitome of like it's the pinnacle of art expression. When you can make something look realistic, you're the GOAT.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so there are artists that I would like anybody who watches this stream to look up. One of those artists is P.A. Mondrian. That's Piemondrian. If I'm correct, P.A. Mondrian.
Actually, I wrote that down too.
Another artist is Jackson Pollock. Jackson, Pollock. Jackson Pollock. John Michael Basquiat. Basquiat. All of these artists were somewhere between impressionist. You can look that up. Impressionist artists. No, I wouldn't say they were surrealists. They weren't surrealists at all. But like impressionist, Basquiat might have been a surrealist in some ways. But none of these artists were like hyper detailed at all. In fact, P.A. Mondrian, most of his work is geometric shapes. But to this day, they teach people based on these artists. Basquiat is probably like the most talked out black artist as as far as like young people go, because Basquiat had a short life, R.I.P. Basquiat died at 33, I think. Same age I am right now. Basquiat died at the height of his career. Basquiat was great friends with Andy Warhol, who was, like reasonably older than him, and was like at the height of his career when Basquiat, not the height, but he was like extremely popular and established by the time that Basquiat had died. So that's a big deal. And again, like they didn't really practice techniques. Jackson Pollock just splattered paint. Basquiat intentionally painted like a 5-year-old on purpose because that was his response. That was his response to the art world, and like the hyper detail work. My headphones acting up. My headphones trying to give out on me, so I'm gonna try to speed this up. Okay. So number 4 is you don't know what sets you apart yet. Just because your art is good doesn't mean that there's a demand for it. You have to find your voice and your style to really stand apart. I don't want to burst any bubbles, but if your work is really similar to a lot of artists out there, you're going to have a harder time selling work. I keep telling y'all that. Number 5, your customer service sucks. Big one. If you are interacting with the community, you should try to be professional and receptive. Also, if people message you on Instagram or Facebook, make sure you reply to inquiries. Treat all customer interactions like a relationship. Even if a sale isn't involved, no matter how insignificant a single interaction may be, treat it with care. When we have business online, we need to show our customers we are real. And we need to build trust. I mean, she's just going in because I think it's like 10 of them. Oh no, it's not 10 of them. But okay, it says you're advertising to the wrong market. I tell all y'all this. Stop trying to sell your work in a group where everybody else is an artist too. Nobody wants to buy it because they can make their own. Yeah. It's just the truth. They can make their own. Why would I buy yours? I wish it worked like this, but you can't just advertise to anyone who likes art and hopes to capture sales. You need to narrow your focus as you develop your style. If you paint realistic landscapes, show your work at a pop-up event, will likely be disappointing for you. The audience is wrong. If you create a variety of art styles, you have an even harder time because you won't really fit in anywhere. I keep saying that. Oh, I draw this and I draw that. I draw a little bit of everything. It actually works against you. You might not believe so, but it works against you because when people get confused, they choose nothing. That's what people do. When they get confused, they say, I don't want anything. The more you know your art in the art world, the better you can target your audience. I keep saying this. Get out. Go see the art world. Go look at your community. If it's not in your community, go look at the community next to you. There is an art community within 20 miles of you. I promise you, there's an art community within 20 miles of you. You just have to check it out. You got to see what they offer. And you'll be surprised at what you get. It's it's not hard. You just gotta want to reach out and make that jump. You know what I mean? It's super easy. Number 7, you don't have a cohesive style. This one caught me off guard. Years ago, I went to a show and they were giving an award. They were giving like an art award, and there was like curators from museums and galleries walking around, and they were just taking pens and writing notes, asking random questions to the artists involved, and they kept circling back to talk to me, and I'm like, man, I'm looking good, I might get it. And at the end, they give me so many comments and so much love and all these questions. I'm like, I might get that award. This is dope. I'm coming home with the award. They gave it to the lady right next to me who only had 3 paintings.
Woo!
3 paintings in the same style. Me, I had all these portraits, realistic work, but they was a different subjects. Mike Tyson was up there. I had one, a Killmonger, the Black Panther, all types of stuff. But all hers had a cohesive theme. They just like what you got going on. You probably could have won that award because it's all in that same theme. Okay, so and I was salty, and I realized I was like, okay, if there's an award involved in the show, I need to make sure that all my stuff is cohesive. She says, to expand on the point before, when you don't know your style, not only will you not fit in anywhere, but you will confuse your customers. What can they expect from you? That's the big one. What can they expect from you? If you can't make a style, promise to your audience and give them something moderately consistent over time, which is an easier way to do it. And they are much less likely to follow you. Ever listen to a new hit song on the radio, explore the rest of the album from artist to artist, blah, 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 and find other songs that were nothing like the first song you fell in love with? Yeah, I do hear that a lot. And immediately, if I can't play your album back to back, I'm not going to talk about it. It's important to create cohesive bodies of work. What do you think about that?
100%. And it's crazy. I just figured it out this recently enough. This has been, I haven't made anything. I was in the same vein of what you were talking about, doing good realistic portraits, and I felt that people would see the artistry through that.
Right.
When I finally started on something, it took a long time to really come and figure. It took a long time to come how it came together, and it took a long time, but I'm rolling with it, and I definitely agree with that. When I tried, also the cohesiveness, it also works for your marketing, and marketing could just be as simple as your social media page. When they go to your stuff and they view, they will see you having similar style, and that's would be more than likely why they mess with you. That definitely, I agree with that 100%. You have to have it's good to explore other stuff too, but It can be marketed within groups. So you can have that batch of things that you bring here and have that other batch that you bring, here. Kind of like, yeah. Like it's like read the room. What they like, it's like read the room. I wanted to. I don't know that one. Dial love. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I'm just going to piggyback on some old stuff.
Audio check.
Is it still going? Yeah, like
beautiful.
This one had the whole poke through it too. I was like, come on. On the bike. I got about this crate. I look forward, like I get so happy about. I used to, like, my biggest thing was clothes or outfit. That's what you see me in this shirt. I never get to wear this out because I was home pink, so I'm wearing it on this podcast today. But yeah, like the big. I get geeked up with buying like certain supplies and just trying to figure out like new stuff to do. So I'm really looking forward to buying this large milk crate to put on the back of my electric bike and stuff 10 paintings in it and just go around to different spots in the city, lay them up quick, get in quick, get out, But I always want to be able to have those choices on me because you never know who you run into.
Right. So, yeah, I mean that's a pretty deep one. If you ask me, like, I mean, she has some really good points, a lot of stuff that definitely resonated with me. If anything resonated with y'all out there, please leave some comments and hopefully it's something that we could use on a later live, because I'm just getting ready to close this one out. I've been your host, Anthony from Sneaker Fair Kicks. Please check me out, sneakerfairkicks.com, Instagram, Sneaker Fair Kicks. If you would, Frankie, take us out, bro. Let them know where they can find you. You got any projects coming up? Let us know about the projects. And we're going to close this thing out.
Absolutely. Well, I'm FrankieMadeIt Art. You can find me on Instagram at FrankieMade_it_art. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter. If anything you type in as FrankieMadeIt, I should pop up. There's a couple of clones out there. So watch the names that y'all use out there, guys. But no, definitely, thank you so much for having me on this podcast today, especially for the first episode.
Of course, man.
That I love the look of your intro when that thing rolled in the graphics of how that kind of uncovered and all that. It looks real good, clean, professional. I'm already knowing that this is going to be a real good look.
Vet. Hey, again, thank you for joining. I had to get you on there because I love your energy, man. I love the art style, and I just had to have you on. I really appreciate you being on. Once again, this is the Unpainted Podcast with your host, Anthony from Sneaker Fair Kicks. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for listening. Tune in for more. Keep up the support and make art and hustle.
You're listening to the Unpainted Podcast with Sneaker Fair Kicks, the dopest artists weighing in on staying creative, money, fame, and glory. Get that creative kick you need for the weekend. The Unpainted Podcast. Make art and hustle.
Absolutely. So is it still going? Or